Welcome to Absolute Sim Racing for the 7th round of the BSR MX5 Tegiwa Trophy here at Watkins Glen. The championship ticks over past the halfway point here this evening. Plenty on offer. I'm Ed May. Joining me in the comms box for this evening is the wonderful Cameron Hawes, but Dan Handover, he's still here just in the background, operating all of the cameras for me and you, Cam, to talk through all of the action. And you were here before. There's plenty of it to come this evening.
Yeah, definitely. Unlikely of what it says on the information page. This is at Watkins Glen and not Mount Panorama, but we have seen a few races here in different championships, and they have been so close near the end. Gaps of less than a tenth of a second separating the top three even. So tonight is going to be really good with these sorts of cars, and with the level of skill that we have in this series, it's just going to be incredibly close racing between everyone.
Yes, it will. Of course, we also, I believe, have the championship standings that we can talk you through after the 6th round of the championship at the Red Bull Ring. Hopefully that will be able to be brought up on your screen. As I say that, here it is right now. Jason Cooper tops the standings after a great showing, grabbing 3 race victories from a possible 4. Excellent form there from Swift Grid Esports driver, ahead of Tom Griffiths, who comes around in 2nd place. Arthur Fanzel 3rd, Luke Cooper 4th, and then the first of the Pro-Ams in 5th, Sam Smith. And Pro-Am Championship does look like it's starting to get a little bit of a runaway performance from Sam Smith, but that can obviously close back in as other drivers get a chance to close in. Another thing to highlight, though, is how close it is for 8th place Nick Posters and Andy McEwen, separated by only 1 point. So very close still at this mid-stage of the championship. And we can see the drivers now coming around for the start of qualifying. Maybe setting their first flying lap times here now, as we've ticked past 2.5 minutes for this 15-minute qualifying session. Currently at the top is Thomas Burling with Ashley Stimpson in 2nd place. Look at the cars coming through now. It's such a technical circuit going through the S's. Imagine seeing the full raft of MX5s that we will have on display. I think 30 cars, upwards of 30 cars on the opening lap will be making their way through there, hopefully unscathed. And as well, another factor is this powerful slipstream. We're already seeing it here in qualifying. Look at that, wheel to wheel. They're going to go not into the chicane. We don't have that. So it's even more chance for drivers to get a good run into the downhill right-hander, into sort of, well, the outer loop, into the chute, and then through the boot.
Yeah, just going back to the results here, Thomas Burling on pole with Tom Griffiths in 4th, 6/10 down. So Tom Griffiths, as we've seen in the championship standings, being quite high up. So I don't know if he didn't have slipstream on his lap, and that's why he's a little bit further down. But Tom Griffiths is quite far down, unfortunately. Very unfortunate for him, but we're going to see what happens through this lap. I don't know if he's improving, but it looks like Luke Cooper is. Jason Cooper and Luke Cooper both following each other. I think they're using their slipstream of each other just to help them along a little bit.
Two brothers working well together. We'll be able to see them come through the final sector now. This is going to be Jason Cooper's first flying lap time here, and what will it be? Looks good to improve. You can see personal best being set by Jason. He'll be the first of the two Coopers to cross the line. And where does this effort put Jason Cooper? Pole position by some margin, but Michael Linscomb-Hatfield actually just pips him to the mark, and that's then used up by Lee Holmes and Craig Cockrell. So the time's definitely getting a little bit faster now. You see them coming through, and let's have a look actually. Shall we go on board for one of these drivers for our lap in qualifying? Coming on board with current provisional pole sitter Craig Cockrell. He's going to be able to get the slipstream off of a car in front. Not sure who that is going to be. It looks like one of the 88 Tech Racing drivers for certain. And look at him, he's gone through the S's now along this long back stretch. Then flat out all the way, getting the slipstream. But you need to be careful not to have too much overspeed, because going down the hill through the outer loop, it's so difficult. It's such a crucial area. Carry the momentum through. Can't afford to slow down too much. Judge the throttle application. Try not to stall the wheel too much, scrubbing the speed there like Craig Cockrell was just having to fight the car to keep it in line, then plunging down the hill into the chute. Again, holding a nice tight line, higher revs, gets the power down nicely, and then will arrive into the heel, or into the toe rather, actually the toe, uphill. Such a difficult corner. You never know when to apex. Expect to get that later apex, power out nice and early. Try and avoid the back marker traffic like we're seeing here. I think this could be one of the 4040 racing drivers, Michael Seal, up there, getting a little bit of slipstream though, into the heel. Again, want to get a good run through, maybe turns in slightly too early, clips the curb, unsettles the car. There's a car off there, that's Jason Cooper off the circuit there. Actually, no, rather that was Luke Cooper. Then into sort of the end of the boot section and into the final couple of corners. Michael Seal getting out of the way, carry plenty of speed here. Near enough, flat out, if not flat out through there. A little bit of an overcorrection, bumping the curb, and then hard on the brakes, carry the momentum through, use the camber to good effect, get as close as you can to the wall without touching it on exit. Craig Cockrell will get another bit of slipstream and come across the line here. Let's see, is this going to be improvement? Tom Griffiths improves to provisional pole position, and Craig Cockrell isn't able to make up the time. So current provisional pole sitter now goes the way of Tom Griffiths, a driver that was very strong at the Red Bull Ring, but was just eclipsed by an amazing performance by Jason Cooper. Surprised to see Jason not quite up there yet, but still plenty of time to go in this qualifying session.
Yeah, Jason Cooper, I don't think has had that lap with the slipstream that everyone else has had yet. And with a few offs, I think this is going to be the lap where he tries and push, but he's already down in the first sector, unfortunately. So it would be very surprising if he does actually go a little bit quicker. I would think he's going to go back to the pits, get a new set of tyres, refill the car, and then go out for the rest of the session. As he still isn't improving, unfortunately, for Jason Cooper. But can we just go back to Michael Linscomb-Hatfield, who is sat in P7 as an AM driver, which is outstanding for Michael, in front of quite a few pro drivers and quite a few pro-am drivers as well. So that is an incredible performance by Michael.
Yeah, good stuff there from Linscomb-Hatfield. He's been very strong these past few rounds, improving week in, week out, putting in the time in the Monday sessions, and that's certainly working well for him. We can see him now currently improving in the middle sector, has been able to get ahead of Jason Cooper on the road. And there's this long train of MX5s in the background. You can see the first 2 sectors weren't too strong because he hasn't had the slipstream on those areas are where you can really gain a lot of time. He improves in the 4th sector, just the final to go. And this could be a very good lap time indeed from the AM driver. Going to see him into the final corner. Does he carry the right amount of speed in? Look at that. Pitches it in nicely.
Perfect.
Maybe a little bit too slow on the way in, though.
Yeah.
You can see there was a lot more of the circuit on the exit that he could have used to his advantage. Don't know if he'll improve the final sector. No, he doesn't. And I don't think he improves on his time there. So just a slight mistake into the final sector there as
Craig
the
Cockrell.
back and runs very wide. Yeah, Craig Cockrell going well up into 3rd position. Pro-Am drivers doing very well as Nick Postance moves up onto 3rd. But we'll try and have a look at other drivers out and about on hot lap times. A lot of them are quite surprisingly Pro-Am drivers that have found a good turn of pace here.
Yeah, just to clarify the colours for you, the pro drivers are in yellow, the Pro-Am drivers are in green, and the Am drivers are in red. As I think we have lost Michael. Oh no, we haven't. No, he's just not on the. I thought we'd lost Michael Lindstrom Hatfield there. No, he's just not on the live timing at the moment, as these guys are going nose to tail. Wow, Luke Cooper going nose to tail with I can't see who that is. I couldn't see who that is at all.
There was a Simtech racing car and a Swift Cooper esports racing car going very close together with one another, but obviously it's qualifying. They're trying to get the best track position possible to get the best lap time out of it. And sometimes drivers, when fighting for that extra little bit of time, trying to chase those tenths, can sort of cross over one another. Let's have a look this time at Thomas Burling, who will be looking to improve. Coming into the final sector now.
Michael Lindstrom Hatfield is improving again.
Yeah, Lindstrom Hatfield, like you said, going well in these final few sectors, but it's the opening part where he doesn't get the slipstream from all of those in front, so he struggles a little bit in those areas. He hasn't had the benefit that we're seeing Thomas Burling get of the slipstream from a car in front. Make their way, I love this section, carry the speed through very fast corners to round out the lap. And we'll see closing up, trying to get through. You can see the exit is good from the Matthews Logistics car up in front, not so good from Thomas Burling, but what will it be across the line for Thomas? Currently, previously set a 2-minute 8.0, currently goes with a 2-minute 7.3, so an improvement in lap time, not in position, however. Sadly, not able to improve, and he was able to get that lap time thanks to the assistance of Fiona Siddons, and Fiona, I think, is just about to get out of the way. Through we go, yes.
Yeah, Fiona Siddons doing the right thing, like getting out of the way for, I think it was Adam Fox, so just getting that. Oh, sorry, I've just seen Jason Cooper going green through Sector 1. Jason Cooper's going a little bit quicker through Sector 1. So this could be the lap that he's been waiting for. We'll just
has he been able to get the slipstream? I don't think he has, because he doesn't improve in the second sector, does he? So he's
very unfortunate.
Gonna have to pull it all out in the final few sectors here, Cameron.
Yeah, I think Jason Cooper really wants this lap, and starting P3 is still not bad, but it's Tom Griffiths in P1 with a 2:05. And Jason Cooper is about 2/10 off that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but around here that is a lot of time.
That is a slipstream's worth, isn't it? That's about what you'd gain from having the slipstream from the cars in front, and he's at the front of this train. Of course, that means that you won't get held up at all through this final sector and have the drivers making mistakes like we just saw Michael Seal get a little bit too much coming through the heel of the boot section there. But Jason Cooper, he's really struggled, not been able to find the optimum track space. You can see there Tom Griffiths, provisional pole sitter there on the right-hand side of your shot, going into the final couple of corners, wants to have clear track space, wants to come onto the back of this train, get the slipstream. He's on an outlap to have one final chance at snatching pole position. Jason Cooper will come across the line, I believe, to start his final qualifying lap. See the drivers there. Time on the top, 2 minutes to go. If you're on a lap time that ticks over past that 15 minutes, then you can complete it. Runs very wide though through the first corner, and I think that could be an invalidation of a lap. So Jason Cooper might, unfortunately, not have any chance to improve on the final moments of qualifying. He's still going around on the circuit though, so that might mean he's all right.
Yeah, definitely. Jason Cooper running just that tiny little bit wide, and that can. I think the lap is still valid, but that has pretty much ruined his whole.
He pulls
entrance.
away. I don't think he's going. I don't think it is valid because he's letting other cars through. So that is probably he's just going around to get that little bit more practice under his belt. Craig McDonald on an outlap will not be able to get across the line to set a valid lap time, and I think gets out of the way to let a Matthews Logistics car go past. So we'll be able to shift our attention to potentially maybe Michael Seal could be the next driver to try and challenge Tom Griffiths out in front. We'll see on board. No, he's pulling out of this as well. So it seems for all the world to be Tom Griffiths' pole position, and he's currently on a lap time. Let's see if he's going to be able to get any improvements. Don't forget, he was at the back of this long train of MX5s. He will, of course, be able to complete this lap time that he is on, but the tyres might not be up into optimum temperatures.
I think they'll be going to be able to get another lap in.
I don't know if they will, because last time we saw them come across the line, it was with 2 minutes to go, and it takes around about 2 minutes, 5 seconds for a lap time, so I don't think they'll be able to fit another lap in here, Cam.
It's going to be very close. Very, very close. With 10 seconds to go, they come around the second to last corner. If he can nail this last corner...
no, there's not enough time.
No way. Very unfortunate. And so Jason Cooper starting P3, and I don't think anybody is going to improve, but Michael Linscomb Hatfield, P11 as an AM driver. What a performance from Michael.
Very quick, but that's not take away from the fact that Ashley Stimpson and Craig McDonald are definitely right there, aren't they? They're very close. Liam Stimpson as well, the other AM driver, top 3 in AMs, 11th, 13th, 15th. They could all be maybe up for a bit of a scrap together. What I am really shocked by is Luke Cooper actually all the way down in 16th place. Luke, who has had some good results recent times, has maybe started to drop off, which is definitely a shame to see, but who knows, maybe this is just not a good track for him, or maybe he's just not good at hot lapping around here, and instead his race pace is where he'll come into his own as well. Maybe just wasn't able to get the track space to get that final flying lap across the line. Following Tom Griffiths here, pole sitter, and it is confirmed. I don't think there's anyone that can really hold a candle to him at the moment, so good showing in qualifying by Tom Griffiths. 2 tenths faster than Jason Cooper, a tenth and a bit faster than Lee Holmes, which isn't really too much around a 2 minute lap time. So we'll be able to see close fighting, I imagine, for the first of 4 races this evening. And if you are new to this series, if you haven't understood the format, 15-minute qualifying, 15-minute race 1, race 2, race 3, race 4. Race 1 is determined by the results of qualifying, but races 2, 3, and 4 will be settled, at least the grids will be settled, by the reverse grid spinning wheel that will be done by the ever glamorous assistant here on broadcast, Daniel Handover of Absolute Sim Racing. But with that, the checker flag is waved. The drivers using these last few months to get their extra sort of few meters of practice under their belts, Cameron, and will be on track for a great race.
Yeah, definitely. These guys never ever disappoint. They're always on the limit all of the time, every single time they drive. And it is going to be an incredible race. I already know it. There's going to be bumps, there's going to be scrapes. It's like touring cars. We saw it in the last race. We're going to see it here. It's going to be extremely close between everyone. And I think, is Arthur Pansel here tonight? I didn't see him on the qualifying.
I believe so. I believe there were a few drivers that were ineligible for qualifying for whatever reason, drivers that had penalties and such coming into this round, so they serve the exclusion from qualifying penalties and make their way to the grid for the first race, shuffled to the back. However, because of a little quirk in iRacing, That means that Arthur Panzel will actually be at the front of those cars that weren't able to qualify due to his I rating. It shuffles it from highest I rating down to lowest in the event of a tie for times. And, well, in this situation, if the times are 0, times aren't set, then it just shuffles them through in I rating order. So we'll see the drivers all settle out in qualifying, and we'll be able to get you started for the rundown of the grid. Qualifying results there on your screens. And the front row is made up of Tom Griffiths and Lee Holmes. A good effort there from Lee Holmes to get onto the front row ahead of Jason Cooper, championship leader, starting 3rd place. Sam Smith will be alongside him in 4th, ahead of Michael Seal and James Clark, rounding out the 3rd row of the grid. Nick Postins, Craig Cottrell, James King, and James Neve. Battle of the Jameses to complete your top 10, with Linscombe Hatfield highest placed AM driver ahead of Adam Fox. 12th place for Year 1 TV. 13th place, another AM driver, Ashley Stimpson, high up the order, ahead of Craig McDonald, Liam Stimpson, and Luke Cooper. Surprised to see him down in 16th place. He's still ahead of Thomas Burling, Fiona Siddons, Arthur Panzel, and Anthony Beck down in 20th place. 21st, we'll see Nick Clibbins lining up ahead of Andy McEwen, Ryan Main, and Robert Noble in 24th. And then the rest of the grid is as follows: Douglas Stewart, Simon Robson, Duncan Cope, Julian Schroer, Colin Sanson, and Mark Oliver, who makes up the 30-car grid for the first run of the evening here at Watkins Glen. What a battle this is going to be, though. This opening lap is going to be tricky for Tom Griffiths. He'll be able to get through turn 1 along the inside, probably have the best run up through the S's, but then so many cars will be right behind him. Getting that slipstream will struggle to stay in front, I think.
Yeah, the slipstream is going to really help these guys.
All the lights are coming on.
We have the lights coming on. 5 lights. Lights are out, and away we go. And Lee Holmes getting a really good start there off Tom Griffiths. Lee Holmes is going to side by side into turn 1, just about. Lee Holmes, nearly getting it. And just going to watch out for Jason Cooper, because Jason Cooper's got the run. Lee Holmes, is Jason going to get Lee Holmes down the straight? Really wouldn't rule out Sam Smith, as Sam Smith has a slip. All 4 of these cars down straight.
Yeah, good start there, but you can see now Tom Griffiths up into the front of the field, and Jason Cooper's going to follow him through, get the overspeed from the slipstream. This is what we said at the start of the race. Here we go. Jason Cooper nose in front, into the lead they will go. Through into the next corner now, around the outside through the long downhill right. He's got so far in front that they can just sweep on by and take that position. Up into the lead of the race, Jason Cooper goes and is able to get in front of Tom Griffiths, but Tom, with a brilliant exit, will now fight them down into the chute. Left-hander to go helps out Jason Cooper, and he will then retain the lead, but Tom Griffiths is so close that you'll expect him to fight into the toe. Now they will go up the hill. Tight right-hander gets the late apex very nicely, rounds out the corner beautifully, Tom Griffiths, and is able to get a slight run on Jason Cooper, but not enough to challenge. Meanwhile, look at this, side by side, Sam Smith just ahead of Lee Holmes into the heel. Who's going to be committed on the brakes? You can see they brake virtually at the same time. The inside line, though, helping Sam Smith, but then that will become the outside for the next couple of corners, and I think he's just going to have to concede that position. So Lee Holmes up into 3rd place now after a good little tussle with Sam Smith, trying to sort it out single file through the final couple of corners. And always a spinner. There's 2 Year 1 cars, Year 1 TV and Year 1 Racing. That looks like Adam Fox and Andy McEwen coming together, and that's the first time we've seen those two have a moment. Oh my word, definitely disappointing for the Year 1 Racing and Year 1 TV camps there, even though they're not technically the same team. They are stablemates, and it's never nice to get involved in an incident there. And meanwhile, they're going to be going side by side, maybe even 3 wide into the first corner. Arthur Panzel down the inside of all 3 of them, but no, isn't able to quite get the position done. And then he'll try and slot in behind, but they're going to go 2 wide up through the S's here, Cam.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. Oh, that's way. Oh, that's going to be a big off. Wow. I don't know who that was. Was that Arthur Panzel?
That was Panzel.
Oh, not again, Arthur. Arthur Panzel. I mean, that's the joys of controller. It really is. Arthur Panzel not being able to save it. after being tapped, and he's not going to be able to rejoin, and he's going to have damage. And for the last race that I was here for, which was Bathurst, he had another incident. He had an incident on the
final corner, yeah.
Able to finish the race.
Final corner of the final lap of the first race of the evening. I remember it well. It was looking so good for him at that point, but unfortunately the racing god said no and virtually slapped all of those contenders out at the death. But we can have a look at Ashley Stimpson now, who is just ahead of teammate Liam Stimpson, but Liam is looking very racing. We'll be looking to try and make the move into the hill. Over the top of the hill they will go before plunging their way back down through into the right-hander. Hard on the brakes down the inside. Are we going to see Stimpson take that position ahead of the other Stimpson? Two Stimpsons fighting it out, and I think Stimpson does end up winning that fight. Unfortunately, Stimpson wasn't able to stay in front.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stimpson, as you said, wasn't able to stay in front, and it's very, very difficult to stay in front around this track when you've got the slipstream. And the only way you can stay in front is get the slipstream on the next lap. So you have to plan your moves, plan your actions, and yeah, it's very difficult to pass around here. I remember
definitely
doing a GT3 race around here, and it was extremely difficult to pass because you had to wait until you had the slipstream to get that overspeed.
Yeah, but you've mentioned about staying in front. That's so far what Jason Cooper has been able to manage this race up at the front of the field. But with a sea of orange behind him, cars all within half a second of one another going up through the S's. He may struggle when they rise over the crest of the hill, and that slipstream becomes ever more powerful for Lee Holmes in the background. You can see him in hot pursuit. The closing speed is immense at the top of the crest, and now they will go side by side, wheel to wheel, door to door, however you want to say it. They will be fighting together, and Tom Griffiths is actually going to give a bump there, a big bump, actually, considering the overspeed, to try and help Jason Cooper to stay in front and maybe slide his way through along the inside as Lee Holmes gets forced offline. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. Use that wider line to get on the power earlier, but loses out in the position. Is Tom Griffiths going to be able to get a chance? No, he doesn't. He's going to get forced wide by the driver. He tried to get past, so Lee Holmes holds on for second place. Tom Griffiths, smart driving there, but it just didn't quite work out. We'll see a replay of, well, this is Julian Schroer. And was he having a moment here? Let's have a look. Or is this just an overtake? Or is this going to be around the outside? You know, that'd be a good little move if you can pull it off. But no, he's actually overtaken there by, I believe that is Robert Noble. Oh, meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Lee Holmes and Jason Cooper going for a ding-dong battle. Tom Griffiths has hedged his bets on Jason Cooper winning this battle and then sliding down the inside on the corner past him. And you know what? He backed the right horse. He's able to get that position. Done and dusted. Very nice stuff there from Tom Griffiths. He put it on pole and he's showing good racecraft to try and take back top spot. He's in the best spot now behind Jason Cooper. Through the final corner he goes. Carries a good amount of speed. Runs the car nice and wide out to the exit curb. And then look at all of the drivers dicing for position. Lee Holmes, Sam Smith will be fighting together into the first corner. I think Sam is backing off, doesn't want to be ahead through the first corner, instead wants to be ahead coming out of the S's, getting the slipstream to good effect. Very wide in the background there for one of the Rapid Motorsport cars. Very distinctive blue and yellow. Your sport for choice, aren't you? Yeah, to see which battle to fight. James King, I think, is lining up an overtake on James Clark. Battle the James is still going strong here. Look how close they are. Jason Cooper going defensive, though, from Tom Griffiths. Tom with his nose in front at the end of this back stretch. He'll try and sweep it around the outside into the long right-hander. Down the hill he will go.
He's going to have the line into the next corner, though.
Going to win it. Yeah, the next corner will work out for him, but that is if he can carry the speed on the exit, which he doesn't. Jason Cooper stays out in front of this little battle, but it's very difficult for Jason Cooper. He's just about managing it every time, and you know that that's going to take the toll on him. Craig Cockrell, meanwhile, looking for a move, trying to fight with Nick Postance. Up into the toe, down the inside goes, Nick Postance, but Craig Cockrell is being very strong on the outside, and he's holding on.
Yeah, just about, though. Only just, he's holding on. Very, very close, and I think we have a sea of orange Up to up to P18, everybody is within a second of the car ahead, and I think for the top 5, everyone's within about a second and a half. So it's so close as we see Robert Noble making a move there on Duncan Cope. So Robert Noble actually finally getting past Duncan Cope. I know he's been sat there for quite a while, and just watching behind Julian Schroer after his amazing move on, I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Duncan Cope. Is having a battle. Oh wow! Having a battle with Duncan Cope, and is he going to get the move done into turn 1 using all of the slipstream down the straight? Hopefully for him, he can get the move done down into turn 1, or if not, on the backstretch and through the S's.
Yeah, we'll follow this fight now. You can see battle Julian Schroer, Duncan Cope, Robert Noble. Look at this up in front, side by side through the S's. Nick Clibbins trying to stay ahead of Craig McDonald. Craig will fight him around the outside. He's going to try and get the overspeed, get the slipstream from the other cars ahead, but he doesn't. He drops back behind the Simtech Racing driver to line up a move. Potentially, so you can line up moves. Take your pick of who's going to win out in this fight. Lee Holmes, actually, I think, has been able to get ahead of Tom Griffiths. Oh, no, he hasn't. Yes, he has. Look at this. Side by side, they will go down through the chute into the boot. Lee Holmes taking back second position, but all of this fighting isn't really allowing Jason Cooper to build a margin. You'd be worried, perhaps, that fighting for second place like this would leave you vulnerable to losing touch with the leader, but they're all still very quick in their charge. And Jason Cooper is going to be having his work cut out for him, but all of a sudden, Tom Griffiths gets a good run out through the toe, but into the heel. The slipstream allows Lee Holmes to keep second place for the moment. Just look at that train of MX5s making their way through. They're dicing for position. This is cracking stuff. If all the races like this, then we're going to be in for a great evening for sure. If you are enjoying what you're seeing on Absolute Sim Racing, make sure to give the stream a like, give us a subscribe, and have a bit of a chat in the comments. If you're supporting any of the drivers here this evening, let us know. We do like to hear from everyone involved in the races and friends of either the racing drivers, or even if you don't have any affiliation, just drivers you like a look of. Maybe they've got a pretty car and you like to follow him through. Jason Cooper has a nice livery, and you often see a lot of him because he's up at the front. Speaking of one of the Coopers, we're on board with Luke here down in 50th place. Hasn't really been able to make any inroads since starting in 16th place, which is, again, very surprising to see, but I don't think he's been able to really get the fortune, get the luck of the green, really.
No, I don't think he's just trying to get that little bit of luck, isn't he? And he's just trying to get that little pass done. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I'm just looking up the gaps up in front. It looks like Lee Holmes and Jason Cooper are about to have a battle again. Lee Holmes, I say again, that's a new one. Lee Holmes getting past Jason Cooper in the 88 Tech car, weaving, trying to break that draft. And is that Jason Cooper on the outside with Tom Griffiths giving him a little bit of a bump draft? And behind, I can't follow who's in front there. Everything just changed. And looks like Jason Cooper has gone on the inside. Tom Griffiths is going to try and back up Lee Holmes. Sam Smith trying to follow Jason Cooper. Jason Cooper's just so strong through the chute and the outer loop. And just going into toe, he always leads. And if you can get the pass done through the boot, a heel, turn 9, turn 10, or turn 11, I think you'll be able to hold it for the rest of the lap, apart from if the slipstream is extremely strong. As we see Craig Cockrell, James Clark, and James King having a little battle. James Clark and James King still side by side. I am under the impression they've been side by side for the past 12 minutes. But they are still side by side going into heel, into turn 8. And, that's very, very late.
What a move down the inside by James King.
Very, very late on the brakes by James King. Sort of dangerously late on the brakes by James King, and he's still trying to hold that position, still trying to keep it in front of James Clark, and trying to catch up to Michael Seal as quick as he can to try and get away from James Clark.
Yeah, this is so close, isn't it? If only James Neve could get ahead of Nick and Craig, and then we could have all three Jameses fighting out to the top of the pile. But Craig Cockrell, he gets a good run out of the final corner. The overspeed is there, but the slipstream helps out all the other drivers. Kind of neutralizes the advantage almost for Craig Cockrell. He has a slight look down into the first corner, but thinks better of it gets a good run again. He's always so good on the run out of the corners, and he could get a chance to move side by side. In fact, that's exactly what he is going to do. Wheel to wheel with James Clark, Craig Cockrell. We can see him around the outside that then becomes the inside. He's picking up the slipstream all the time from the RAFE Motorsports car. And yeah, all of a sudden, Nick Postens could try and pass through. And that's the difficulty when cars are following so close. If you lose out on one position, you could find another car sliding his way through just as fast. So unfortunately for James Clark, he's lost out on 2 positions in one move. Jason Cooper trying his best to not lose any positions. Again, that inside line through the outer loop is really helping him to no end. But then down the inside is Lee Holmes. He's going to have to be late on the brakes, sending it into the chutes. He's got the inside line, but he's been forced tight by Jason Cooper, and he will then hold on to the lead, does Jason. So good move there from Jason. Put his car in the most awkward spot for Lee to make that position. You could see him squeeze him onto the apex, but not enough to cause contact. Just maybe add some apprehension into Lee Holmes to make him back out a little of that move. But they are getting a bit more daring in trying to pass Jason Cooper. They don't have much time to try and get ahead, though, because we are approaching the final stages of the race. I don't think we're into the final lap. We're in the second to last lap now. They will, I think, just be able to get through with enough time on the clock. It will, of course, be close. We'll see Michael Seal around the third to last corner, then into the second to last, trying to go side by side. Yeah,
I've just seen James King was P8 earlier on, and now he's P5.
Michael Seals trying to go wheel to wheel with Craig Cockrell into the second to last corner, and that was scary stuff. Very close together. They were able to get enough space between them, and yeah, we can see the white flag being waved now to start the final lap for Jason Cooper. He's just come across the line in time, had no opportunity to, try and back out and stretch the race over, trying to maybe shorten the race outcome just after the 15-minute mark, because there were so many cars close in behind in hot pursuit. So Jason, what can he manage? He's got a good margin through the first corner. This could be enough to see him stay in front through the back stretch. On board with Tom Griffiths, who's going to get the run on Lee Holmes. Lee is closing in, though, half a second margin, but it's closing down for the lead. And Tom Griffiths is actually going to box in almost. Lee Holmes, he's not able to move out. Yes, he is. They're going to be going 3 wide into the... Oh, no, this is going down in tears, surely. Has Tom Griffiths come across the nose? No, he hasn't. But he has carried a lot of speed through. And is this going to leave him vulnerable to losing out on a few positions? Yes, he does. Drops down through the order. Jason Cooper stays in the lead. Lee Holmes holds on to second place, and Sam Smith in third takes that position from Tom Griffiths on the latter stages. And Tom is going to be kicking himself there. He just overcooked it a little onto that long sweeping downhill right-hander. There's still, of course, time to make the move, but you don't often see positions changed about here. It'll have to be a very late lunge from Lee Holmes, who's into the slipstream, and he's going to go for it actually on Jason Cooper. He needs to be very committed later on the brakes. He brakes just slightly early. Jason Cooper affords him the track space. Then Jason will then have the inside for this next corner. And Sam behind. Get the position done there, the next one as well. But they're all trying to find their way through. All of a sudden, Sam Smith could see himself up onto second place. Great stuff there, getting through on Lee Holmes, and he has done it. But will he be able to hold it? Because around the outside, Lee Holmes is going to fight it, has the tap on the brakes, and actually that means he loses out on that position. Final corner send, but it doesn't work out. Tom Griffiths, as the checkup, isn't able to get onto the podium. Jason Cooper, dramatic fashion, wins that race. He did good to hold off the charging assault of all drivers. Sam Smith coming home in second, ahead of Lee Holmes, eventually finishing in third. James King fourth, and Tom Griffiths losing out there in fifth after what was a great qualifying performance from Tommy. Wasn't able to capitalise, sees himself down in fifth. Michael Seal sixth, Craig Cockrell seventh, Postons eighth. James Clark coming home in 10th place. Top 10 made up by Aaron driver Liam Stimpson, who, let's have a round of applause for him. He had a great drive, didn't he, up 5 places to get to where he finished. But with that, all of the drivers have come across the line. So before we come to the finishing order, we shall get up this reverse grid spinning wheel on your screens, and we can see who will start on pole position for the second race of the evening, Cam.
Yeah, spin that wheel. Let's see how big the reverse grid is going to be. I think we have to wait until all the drivers have finished. Don't we? Nope. The wheel is spinning, and a full reverse grid wouldn't be too bad. 17. So Duncan Cope is going to be on pole with Robert Noble and Douglas Stewart, and Michael Linscombe Hatfield is going to be P4.
Whoa, good stuff there from Linscombe Hatfield, starting P4. He's shown good turn of pace, and who knows, we might see him challenging for a podium. But the slipstream does help drivers make quick progression through the field, and with a 17 reverse grid, don't count out Jason Cooper, Sam Smith, or Lee Holmes from making their second trip to the podium this evening. The results will be up on your screens, and Cam, talk us through the finishing order for a brilliant first race.
Yeah, brilliant first race, and Jason Cooper taking the win, but not by much, as Sam Smith got P2 against all odds, with behind him being Lee Holmes, Tom Griffiths, and James King rounding out the top 5. Michael Seal is going to be in P6, Craig Cockrell for Gatton Simsport in P7, Nick Postons P8, James Clark P9, and Liam Stimson, who is the P1 actually in the AM category. So very good race by him in the Simtech racing car. Nick Clibbers just behind him again from Simtech Racing P11, James Neve P12, Luke Cooper P13, and Michael Linscombe Hatfield in P14, getting second in the AM category. Douglas Stewart in P15, Robert Noble, Duncan Cope, and Andy McEwen following them in P18. In P19, we've got Ryan Main, Fiona Siddons in P20, Simon Robson, Adam Fox, Arthur Panzer with his unfortunate tag right at the start, Julian Schroer, who is his actual teammate, who had an unfortunate spin right at the start, Mark Oliver just behind him for 88 Tech Orange in P25, Colin Sanson P26, Ashley Stimpson P27, and rounding out the whole race is Craig McDonald in P28, with Thomas Burling just behind that, and Anthony Beck in P30 for RAF Esports, eMotorsports Blue. What a race that was.
Great stuff, wasn't it? All throughout the field. We didn't know which way to look, but that was an amazing train from 10th, went from first all the way down, well past 10th, nearly the entire grid, wasn't it? Found themselves along that train from first down the order. What a great race this Watkins Glen has provided us to kick off the evening, but there's still plenty more to come here on Absolute Sim Racing. So we're going to go to a short break now, hop into the next server, make sure to stay tuned to Absolute Sim Racing because all of the action is still to come.
Ed, you lead.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Absolute Sim Racing for the second of 4 races here this evening. Last time we saw Jason Cooper take yet another race victory to add to his impressive tally. He's got 12 wins so far this season from 25 starts, which means that in almost half of the times he starts a race, he wins it. That is an absolutely insane statistic there from Jason Cooper. He's just such a dominant force and really a class above the rest when it comes to maybe not getting done over one lap. Obviously, he missed out in qualifying, but in terms of the way he manages the races, the way he can bring it across the line, just brilliant stuff.
Yeah, amazing work by Jason Cooper. It's looking at the stats on paper, he is an incredible driver, and then seeing him drive, he is even better than you think he's going to be.
There he is. He's been very impressive all season long. So we're going to see if he can carry on this good run of form. He will be starting down in 17th place, don't forget. Although the slipstream is strong, you can make up positions like we saw in that last race.
Yeah, making up positions during the whole race is something that he does a lot of, and it's something that lots of people try and do. And because it is a reverse grid this time, he's starting P17. So it's going to be extremely close as the grid has just come up as Duncan Cope is on pole with Robert Noble P2, Douglas Stewart P3, Michael Lincecum Hatfield P4, who is an AM driver, so it's going to be very interesting. Luke Cooper and James Neve on the third row with Nick Clibbens, Liam Stimpson, James Clark, Nick Ponstance, Craig Cockrell, and Michael Seal, rounding out the top 12. P13 is James King, Tom Griffiths, Lee Holmes, Sam Smith. Jason Cooper in P17, the winner of race 1 with Adam McEwen next to him in P18. Ryan Main 19th and Fiona Siddons in the rounding out the top 20. Simon Robson P21, Adam Fox 22, Arthur Panzel and Julian Schroer for 60P Racing in P23 and P24. P25 is going to be Mark Oliver with Colin Sampson next to him, Ashley Stimpson in P27, Craig McDonald P28, Thomas Burling in P29, and rounding out the top 30 is Anthony Beck.
Yeah, but the lights are coming on now. The race is about to get underway. Duncan Cooper not making the start, so it will actually go to Douglas Stewart. I believe those two drivers were excluded from the race start, so unfortunately had to serve pit start penalties. So that means that then goes to Douglas Stewart, who will lead the field through the first corner. Michael Lincecum Hatfield ahead of James Eva. Oh, he spins it around. Who's that off the road? That's Luke Cooper off, as well as what was our race leader, Douglas Stewart. What on earth happened there? Was there contact, or was it just a spin from cold tyres?
I think it was just a spin from cold tyres, leaving the grid of really cold tyres, trying to check it in from the first race, trying to gain positions, and he just had a little bit of a spin, and that has taken him out of the race as everybody has passed him.
Yeah,
this
we
is
can find
really
somewhere
close
in amongst all of these cars. Yeah, Andy McEwen is somewhere there in the shot. You can just see him peeking out the back on the left-hand side of the screen, right-hand side of the circuit, down the inside. He will try and go through on Jason Cooper by following through Tom Griffiths. Let me on the outside line, and he's going to try and hold on to it. This might work out for him. He's got plenty of space in front, isn't going to get checked up, and I think he's been able to get ahead. Yes, he does, of Jason Cooper, but there's an incident in front. Oh, he just about gets through. There was Tom Griffiths, and I believe that was Lee Holmes having a coming together on the exit of the chute there. So drivers fighting for position on these early phases of the race. They're starting to have a few bits of contact, but nothing too major. There's a spinner off the road there. Not sure who that was actually that spun it around. Mark Oliver, I'm hearing, was the driver that had that moment, but is back up and running. Look at this, side by side. Colin Sansom trying to go down the inside of Craig McDonald. Craig, though, unfortunately loses out. I thought he was going to carry the speed around the outside, but just took too much into the corner. Runs wide, isn't able to fight off the advance of the Year 1 TV driver.
Liam
and then
Stimpson.
Look at this, up at the front of the field. Yeah, Liam Stimpson up into the front of the field. I said that he's been showing a good turn of pace, but brilliant stuff there for an AM driver to get into the lead of the race, but he's being fought right back from Craig Cockrell, who will then look to get a little bit of slipstream, either challenge into the first corner to try and keep the next car at bay. Nick Postitz is going to make it a 3-car affair into the first corner. Does he overcook it? No, he just about gets it done to perfection. But speaking of perfection, Craig Cockrell did just enough to keep his car in front. Excellent driving here towards the front of the field. Andy McEwen has somehow already up 11 places since the start of this race. He needs to be careful to have contact with Sam Smith because they are very close coming up through the S's. And then look at the train hugging these, well, trying to hug any way they can on the circuit, finding the track space. It's a breakaway group there on the right-hand side of the circuit, trying to slot their way through, bumping and barging their way up into the next corner. And oh my word, are we going to see all of a sudden James Clark finding himself into the lead of the race? Oh no, there is contact there between himself and Liam Stimson. And that's a massive cascading effect throughout the rest of the field. Big incident there, several cars off the circuit. Don't know how the drivers were able to make their way through there, but a massive moment is a replay of it. They're going to be on board this time with James Clark into the corner, holding that inside line. Can't really go any further to the right, and unfortunately, there's just a big pile up.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Just watching this. It was was it Nick Postons or was it the car on his right? Oh, Nick Postons gets taken out. Oh, very unfortunate for Nick, just a bystander, and then getting taken out in that one. And very unfortunate for the AM driver that was leading as well. Who was that? Another tagging again, and that's going to take another car out of. Very close to take another car out of the race. I thought he was going to lose complete control of his car there. Was that? It wasn't Adam Fox. I think that was Craig McDonald that we were watching.
Yeah, there's a little bit of argy-bargy. Craig McDonald in the blue and yellow Rapid Motorsport car, easily distinctible, easily visible there with the number 85. Just trying to find a way through on Arthur Pansel, but nothing there for the time being. Instead, we'll see the snaking train of MX5s here at Watkins Glen going over to the right-hand side of the circuit and over to the left to go into the first corner. Jason Cooper at the back of the long train from first down into 7th place, trying to break away from Arthur Pansel in 8th position. You can see a definite gap starting to form, but if the battles continue on, we might see them all close up yet again. So at the front of the field, James King is going for a move down the inside and actually getting himself well ahead of Craig Cockrell before they even come up to the next corner. But Craig is going to get that little bit of speed from the slipstream and try and make his own move down the inside into the inner loop. They go. Right-hand corner here. The inside line does tend to help out drivers, but by carrying the speed around the outside, you then set yourself up beautifully for the next corner down into the chute. And we're seeing James King got the good car positioning. He's going to take that inside line, but yet again, Craig Cockrell carries the speed through. He still keeps his car there on the exit. Means that Craig Cockrell can't take, means that actually rather James King can't take the line he wants. Vulnerable into the toe, but the speed he sends into the corner, is he going to get the exit after that? He might struggle to. He gets the speed, but not the line on the inside. So Craig Cockrell again is going to have a second, third, and fourth bite of the cherry, I think, coming up into this next corner, the heel of the boots. And I think he's just not been able to stay in front there. James King holds on to the lead of the race, but it was a very hard-fought affair. Speaking of hard fighting, Julian Schroer in 10th place is going to find himself looking through for any inroads on Adam Fox. Currently occupying that 9th position spot. Fighting everywhere we look, though, isn't there, Cam?
Yeah, everywhere you look, there is always a battle, or there's always a battle that is about to form. And it's extremely close between every single car on this grid. If you look on the left of your screen, you've got a sea of orange, which is the closest you can be. Just after red, which is I think within half a tenth. So it's extremely close between every single car on this grid, and with the level of skill of drivers we've got, you are never short of racing in this series.
You certainly aren't. So let's see the next bit of racing that's up on the order, and this is Luke Cooper trying to get through on Mark Oliver. Luke Cooper, obviously, like we said, involved in that that first corner incident. From Douglas Stewart. I don't think we actually got to see a replay of what happened, but what we saw, it looked like just overcooking it, cold tyres, the rear end stepping out, unfortunately, as my cat has a few opinions on the matter and decides to scream, and I'll try and get that sorted. But meanwhile, getting it sorted, James King up into the lead, also staying in the lead of the race. But look at all of the cars in hot pursuit. Craig Cockrell, Michael Seal, Andy McEwen could find himself up on the podium, but Jason Cooper is going to fight him down into the chute. This left-hander, so difficult to get right, and Jason Cooper does exactly that, gets up into 4th place.
Yeah, Jason Cooper is obviously fighting really, really hard to gain these positions back, as he should be. And it's very, very close for Jason Cooper. He knows exactly what he's got to do. And he's just getting on with it, getting his head down, as we see Arthur Panzel as well in P7 after his shocking race in race 1, nearly at the back of the pack, not where he should be, but he's running in P7 at the moment, following Jason Cooper, and Tom Griffiths has actually dropped quite far down the field.
Andrew Kewen needs to worry about this, though, because he's vulnerable of getting shuffled back through the pack. He was up into 4th place, but could find himself shuffled down into 8th. But I think he's able to slot back in single file ahead of Arthur Panzel. That could have gotten out of hand, so he only loses a few positions. Still up there in contention for a podium, because there's plenty of time still to come in the race. We're still not into the final third yet, with just about 6 minutes still to go here at Watkins Glen. James King back up into the lead of the race, only temporarily though, because Craig Cockrell is going to fight him back. Maybe can see the position through the S's, get into the slipstream, and then fight him down onto the inner loop.
Yeah, he needs to try and find this position somewhere in a place that is very, very predictable. Sorry, not very predictable, because Arthur Panzel and everybody in front of Tom Griffiths is going to be waiting for either Tom Griffiths or Jason Cooper to pass them. Jason Cooper's got past quite a few of them with slipstream, and they just haven't been able to defend, as Jason Cooper is flying down the straight in P2 already, and is in P1, 3 wide, going into the outer loop, and is he going to hold it around the middle? James King still up his inside, and Jason Cooper is going to have the line into the next corner, which is turn number 6. He's going to have the inside line. I think Craig Cockrell is going to back Jason Cooper on this one, as he would do. And James King just
good
putting out
stuff
in front.
there, Jason Cooper.
Very, very, very close.
You can see him now up into the lead of the race, as he was in the first race. It took him a little while this time, but still coming through with 5 minutes to go in this second race of the evening. Fiona Siddons here down in 13th place. And she's having a bit of a scrap with Adam Fox, and Adam Fox that's blinking in and out of reality, which is not going to help matters whatsoever as they fight side by side into the heel. Hard on the brakes goes the Year 1 TV car, but Fiona Siddons in the Matthews Logistics car fights round, but I don't think is able to hold on to that position, unfortunately. So she loses out, drops down into 14th place with, well, 2 teammates close behind, Robert Noble and Thomas Burling. Watch out for those 2 drivers. Then their charge up through the field. Thomas Burling up 13 places so far this race.
Yeah, up 30 places, did you say?
13.
30, I was going to say 30 places. 13 places is a lot. 30 places is a lot. 18 for Craig McDonald.
18, yeah.
16 for Jason Cooper. I mean, let's be honest. Jason Cooper is a very quick driver, but 16 places in, I don't know, just under 10 minutes is outstanding work by Jason. Outstanding work.
Yeah, very good stuff there from Jason Cooper. Seeing all of the drivers out on circuit, trying to showcase their attempts to the best of their ability. Nick Clemens is certainly going to be one of them, and they will go 2 by 2, trying to Noah's Ark their way down this back straight. Nick Clemens in the 13. It's unlucky for some, but he might be able to find a bit of a lucky break here. He's going down the inside, pushing along Julian Schroer, but I don't think he's been able to get through ahead of perhaps Craig McDonald, or has he? I don't know. This is going to be very close, and all for a moment there I thought we were going to see an incident there as Julian Schroer darted across the circuit to try and cover off Craig McDonald. And all of a sudden, Nick Clemens drops back down the order into 12th place. He always got up there into 10th, but loses out. And there is something up in the background. It looked like one of the Year 1 racing cars. Let's have a look. This is on board with Fiona Siddons. Does she just get a tag, perhaps? Oh, yeah, just a little bit of a tag. Spins it around. So it was actually the Matthews Logistics car of Fiona Siddons that ended up getting caught in that incident.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Fiona Siddons, just getting a little bit of a tag. And yeah, just, as I said, just get a little bit of a tag and it's spinning around, and you can't really do much about that. It's not your fault. So Oh, just on board with James King. Is this the move with Jason Cooper? It's a replay, actually. And this is a move for the lead by Jason Cooper, I think. Oh, no, by
This is
James King
James King
passing
getting in
Cooper.
front. Yeah, James King
Wow.
into the lead of the race. Been fighting very well through the nail, and now he's got a good battle between himself and Jason Cooper to look forward to. Meanwhile, let's go on board with Andy McEwen. Going to see how strong the slipstream is coming through the S's here. Run out of turn one isn't something too spectacular, but of course, both of these drivers will get a double slipstream effect, or maybe even triple if you're in a case of Tom Griffiths from all of those cars in front, and you'll be able to see how strong the closing speed is up to this pack. A pack that, let's not forget, goes all the way up to the leader. So if these drivers get themselves in the right positions, they're very well set to take a few more places. Let's have a look, though. Are we on to the final lap, or are we on to the second to last lap? Because you can see the time is ticking away slowly but surely. There's James King and Jason Cooper. Well, they've always been fighting like it's the last lap, but this could be it. Jason Cooper, James King, wheel to wheel down through this chute. Jason Cooper gets the inside line and gets the position done. So he finds himself back up into the lead. But the question marks are if this is the final lap or not.
I think it will be. With a minute to go, coming around the outer loop. Coming around shoot, so toe even. I'll get there in the end. Coming around toe, which is turn 7. This should be the final lap. And just coming through turn 8 with about 35 seconds to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is enough time.
I don't know.
It's going to be very close if there is any time left. We'll have to watch it across the line. Jason Cooper is going to look for it. They were always fighting like it was the last lap, but this could have been it as Jason Cooper judged this to perfection. All the drivers are fighting there like it's their last time around this circuit. 10 seconds to go on the clock. It could be close, you know. Jason Cooper, the checkered flag is being waved here, so Jason Cooper is going to find the checkered flag and he's going to cross the line. First position, 2 on the trot for Jason Cooper. Cooper wants to take another race victory, and that cements the fact that Jason Cooper has won exactly half of the races he's entered so far this season. 26 races and 13 race victories. Cracking stuff there from Jason, putting out ahead of James King, with Sam Smith, and finding himself up on the podium there in 3rd place.
Yeah, very good work by Sam Smith there with P3, and not by a big margin as well. He was very close to P2, and just moving down the field, Arthur Panzel getting P7, so a really good finishing position for Arthur Panzel. Obviously, he could have done better, as Arthur Panzel always can, but Arthur Panzel getting the P7 that he's wanted. And we're going to go to the reverse grid. Spin that wheel, my very fancy assistant. Let's see what we can get for the reverse grid. We always want a full. And yes, full reverse grid. So Jason Cooper is finally starting at the back, and Anthony Beck is going to be starting on pole. Finally, a full reverse grid. This is going to be an incredible race coming up. We're going to go to a quick break.
Well, we're not. We've got to run through the finishing order. So you're getting a bit carried away with yourself. Too excited about that full reverse grid, I think.
Full reverse grid, finally. Right. I'll let you run through these ones, Ed.
So you can see up on your screens the finishing results here. After a brilliant second race, Jason Cooper takes race victory ahead of James King, with Sam Smith coming through in 3rd place. Top of the pile in Pro-Ams of Tom Griffiths, the pro driver. Craig Cockrell and Michael Seal 5th and 6th complete the AM podium, 2nd and 3rd in class respectively, with Arthur Panzel ahead of Andy McEwen, Craig McDonald 9th and Julian Schroer, who completes your top 10. Nick Livens in 11th place, 12th Simon Robson. Simon finds himself taking home the AM class victory with a very good 12th position finish, making up 9 positions on his way to take victory in class. Adam Fox in 13th place, Thomas Burling, Robert Noble, Duncan Cope, Ryan Main, and Fiona Siddons there in 18th place. Did well actually to not lose too many positions, did Fiona, following that incident we saw earlier on in the race. Then let's go down 19th position, Liam Stimpson, ahead of Ashley Stimpson, with Douglas Stewart, Luke Cooper, Mark Oliver, Colin Sansom, and James Neve. And James Neve is actually last of the finishing drivers, both eligible for points and eligible for the reverse grid. So it's effectively a 25 reverse grid that sees James Neve on pole position. That means Jason Cooper will find himself starting all the way down the order, needing to make up 24 places to take a third race victory of the night. A tall order, but well, he's already made up 16 positions rather quickly. We'll see if he can do the same, making up 24. Having a look as well to see if there are any drivers joining us in the commentary box here on Absolute Sim Racing, but I don't think there are. So in that case, myself, Karen and Dan will move over into the next server. You stay tuned to ASR and we can bring you all of the action for the third and fourth races still to come.
Good evening again, everybody. We have a few server issues, unfortunately, at the moment, but we're trying to figure out as quickly as possible, and we will get into the race as soon as we can. Hopefully to spectate and give you the coverage that you guys are here for. We're just waiting on confirmation to see what is happening with hopefully some of the admins, but none of us could figure out what the issue is, which is a little bit problematic.
Yeah, it is very disappointing. I'm not entirely sure what has gone here. It definitely seems to be just completely out of our control. There's nothing we can do from our side of getting in. We've all tried to join into the server, and we've all been given the same issue. So it seems to be something potentially with the spectating feature on iRacing. So we'll hope to see that maybe sorted out for the next server. Maybe it's just a little issue with this particular session, and we're able to bring you all the action on Absolute Sim Racing for the fourth and final race of the evening. That also does complicate things of the reverse grid spinning wheel, because we don't really know when the race finishes to then give the spinning wheel for the next race. We'll try and sort all of this out if we aren't able to get into the next race, but it's a very, very strange situation, Cam. I've never had this on my time on iRacing, so it's one of these very weird quirks.
Yeah, neither have I, unfortunately, but I'm just going to want to hunt, see if I can find someone and see if we can figure this out. So just after confirmation there from one of the drivers, the race is actually going on at the moment, but we have missed a little bit of action. Apparently there's been quite a few big crashes, so things
maybe it's for the best that we haven't caught that on stream.
Things could definitely be shaken up for race number 4. Unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to get into the race. We're going to keep trying, but hopefully we can get in near the end of the race or as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. What that does mean, though, is that we have a little bit of chance to talk about the championship and how it stands at the moment. I've got all of the data available, so I can talk you through everything that we've seen so far. And it's Jason Cooper at the moment with 1,913 points currently in the championship. 26 starts, 13 wins. Brilliant performance by himself. And then next in the championship is Tom Griffiths with 1,600 points, essentially 1,599 if you want to be exactly precise, but for all intents and purposes, essentially 300 points shy of Jason Cooper at the top. So Jason is building his margin round after round. If he's been involved in one of the incidents, though, that could mean he's dropping down the order and maybe closing back up into a championship fight between himself and Tom Griffiths. Arthur Pansel as well has not had the best of evenings, shall we say. We can caught up in a few moments here or there, but currently up in third position in the championship standings. So his championship picture is still looking very promising. 1,527 points to himself in third. But fourth place in the championship, Sam Smith is right behind him, 1,522 points. So 5 points the gap between third and fourth. And Sam Smith, let's not forget, he's a pro-am, so showing good turn of face, good form, even though he hasn't necessarily won a race meeting this evening, won a race victory this evening. He's at all in this championship. He's still doing very well for himself, up into fourth, ahead of the likes of Luke Cooper, Michael Seal as well, a driver yet to get a race victory, but in sixth position, along with Andy McHugh in the seventh position, not with a race victory so far this season. Nick Clibbins, though, has a race victory to his name, with James Clark, who's taken 2 race victories, and then Nick Poston's top 10 in the championship, 1,337 points. It's 1 point better than Craig Cockrell in 11th. Also not able to get any race victories so far. Out and out, of course. It's taken a few class victories so far this season. I'm just having a look, see if there's any way for us to get through into the server. No, there isn't at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Apparently, there's been quite a few races, quite a few battles, and Jason Cooper fight from the back. I was so excited about my reverse grid. It was really, really annoying.
Yeah, it is unfortunate to see that not coming to fruition. Hopefully, we'll be able to maybe after the race is done, have a driver come in for an interview and give us a race report, maybe, or something.
Yeah, let's hope so. We'll get that out for you and get a little race report at the end of the race to see what's going on. But yeah, it's very unfortunate that we're going to miss out on one of the races tonight.
It's very strange to see this again. Like, if you have just joined us, we're not commentating on nothing. We're not being able to commentate on anything, unfortunately. There's no ability for us to come through. What we might do is have to shut the stream off for a moment and do a quick restart of things to come back through, but we're not entirely sure what is going on and if that will allow us to come back in or not. So what we're going to do is myself and Cameron will go quiet for a moment. We're going to restart a few things. When we get back, hopefully we will have action on the circuit. Hello everybody, welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to solve the issues. It seems to be something on iRacing's end and nothing that we personally can control by doing a restart or any of that business. It's out of our hands, but what we can do is try and do our very best to give you a picture of what is going on the track. And the race is not over yet. There's still cars racing on the circuit. I'm hoping to get a potential order of finishing order at the very least at the end of the race. That will mean we can W1 who came through the order as well, and maybe try and get a picture of exactly how it all unfolded as well. But for the moment, Cam, we're flying blind tonight.
Yeah, very unfortunate, but yeah, we're gonna miss the race. Hopefully, we can get a little driver's report at the end of it. But yeah, we're gonna miss this race, unfortunately. So it's quite unusual that this happens, but when it does happen, it happens. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens, I guess.
It's very tricky. Like I said, never really commentated on a race such as this where I can't see anything and also have no way of knowing what exactly is going on. But of course, that hasn't taken away from the fact it's still been a brilliant race, even, hasn't there? We've seen great fighting all throughout the field. It's a shame that, from what we've heard so far of this race, that it was a little bit accident prone for certain drivers, certain incidents occurring up and down the field, and maybe that means that the shine isn't taken too much off of the evening from the incidents, and instead we can really look forward to a brilliant fourth race that's going to be coming up towards the end of the evening. Of course, this is the third race that we've not been able to bring you. I reckon it'll only be a few moments' time before the checker flag is waved there and we can bring you the order for that fourth and for the third and second to last race.
Yeah, it's very weird to commentate, as you said, on a race that you can't actually see. It's like being blind, but hopefully we can get the results in. We can tell you who won, and if we can get a little replay of that race, if one of the drivers have a replay.
And I've just seen what's happened, and I cannot believe that we've missed this. Andy McEwen has got his first race victory of the season, and we've gone and missed it. Through no power of our own, of course. There's nothing we've done about this. We couldn't have known that this was going to happen. iRacing didn't let us into the server, but Andy McEwen took his first race victory of the season. So, what a race it must have been from Andy, but what heartbreak it is that it's not been broadcast. Hopefully, we can maybe do something about that later on. But anyways, that means that we can, of course, bring up the reverse grid spinning wheel. And we're going to find out who has got pole position. So the wheel is spinning. For some reason, I can't see the wheel at the moment, but I'm sure I'll be able to find out who is going to get pole position for this evening. I think up on your screen you can see the wheel now, and it is about to spin to determine where on earth Andy McEwen is going to start fourth and final race of the evening. So around it goes. And where does it land? It lands on a 34 reverse grid. So for all intents and purposes, with 30 cars out on the circuit, that is a full reverse grid. And I can see now the finishing order. Thank you to Fiona Stevens, who sent me a message on Discord and has allowed me to see the finishing order. And oh my god, we missed it. Right, so put it in perspective. Andy McEwen, race victor. Tom Griffiths second place, but 2/100ths of a second, nearly tied with Jason Cooper with only 3/1000ths separating, well, not even that, only 2/1000ths separating second from third. So it was essentially a photo finish three-way at the line with Jason Cooper bottom step of the podium. Ryan Main coming through into a brilliant fourth position for himself. I think one of his best results of the season. Tim Simpson in third, finishing ahead of Arthur Panzel. Lee Holmes, Nick Postance Anthony Beck and Douglas Stewart, who completes your top 10. What a race that was. Luke Grunman in 11th, ahead of Glenn Humberston, ahead of Michael Linscombe-Hatfield in 13th place. 14th, going to Robert Noble, ahead of Duncan Cope in 15th. James Neve manages to beat out James Clark in 16th and 17th places, respectively. Mark Oliver 18th, Colin Sansom 19th, Sam Smith 20th, Michael Seal 21st, ahead of Luke Cooper in 22nd place, Julian Schroer is 23rd, and James King 24th, finishes 1 lap down but is still eligible for the reverse grid. Nick Clibbins finishes 2 laps down, does not get any points, does not get the reverse grid pole position. So it is, for all intents and purposes, a full reverse grid. 24 cars reversed. Danny McEwen will find himself starting 24th position. But, what a race. A race that we missed, you know. Bitterly disappointing for Andy McEwen, but still a mega finish. And you can see that we've got a picture sent in the Discord. Maybe if we can try and get that up on the screen. It's just sent on the there's our Discord. But that was a mega finish. I'm so gutted that we weren't able to win.
Really annoying. Oh, that is so close. so close. Oh, as you said, 100th of a second. That is... You can't get closer than that, can you? Unless you go to 1,000th. But that is really on the limit.
Yeah, so we'll try and find out what's happening. A potential workaround we have is that we might be able to get added to the grid and actually join as racers instead of broadcasters or instead of spectators, because for some reason it doesn't let us join through. So we'll see what's going on here, see if we can get it all sorted, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you all the action for the fourth race. But still, full reverse grid. You might be able to have that excitement again, you know, and actually be able to commentate over it.
I really hope we can watch it this time. I really hope we can watch it this time. It's going to be, hopefully, another incredible race from some very good drivers, and it's going to be really fun to watch.
It absolutely will be. So, got all of that to look forward to on Absolute Sim Racing. So it might take a little while to bring up because of all of the aforementioned issues that we're trying to combat and battle with here with iRacing, but it should still come through for us in the end. So stay tuned to Absolute Sim Racing for the fourth and final race of the BSR Tegiwa MX5 series, the 7th round here at Watkins Glen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Absolute Sim Racing. You can see finally, once again, we have pictures of the Watkins Glen circuit. It took us a little while, but we've gotten back up and running. Our racing servers seem to have had their little hiccup and have got back on firing upon all cylinders. I'm Ed May, and joining me once again in the comment box is Cameron Hawes. Then we missed the third race, but what a finish it was! Just a couple of hundredths in it between Andy McEwen, Jason Cooper, and Tom Griffiths. But we do have Andy, race victor, in the comms box with us, so we can bring him in for an interview. And Andy, congratulations! It's a shame we missed it, but what a result. We obviously saw on the broadcast the photo finish at the line. That must have been one hell of a race.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Do you know, I'm actually quite happy that you didn't try and interview me straight after the race, because I don't think you'd have got any sense out of me. I was... if my neighbours had gone for an early night in bed, put it this way, they would have been woken up well and truly by my screaming when I came across the line. I mean, it feels like it's been a long time coming, this, and yeah, to win it in what was quite an exciting race feels even better.
Well, in the moments where we didn't have pictures, which were quite a while, we were actually looking through the championship order, and I was saying that you hadn't got any wins yet, but you were showing good pace. I wouldn't be surprised if you get a race victory soon. And little do I know, in the background, you're working away hard behind the wheel, and you're getting that race victory.
Yeah, my first ever as well. I never came close really last year, and then yeah, this year it's all sort of clicked a little bit more, and I like Watkins Glen. It's my kind of track. Lots of slipstreaming and 3 wide. It's a bit nervy, but it's good fun. And yeah, I actually can't quite believe that I've finally done it. And to beat people like Tom and Jason were in the fight for the win as well. That makes it extra special because that we've seen how quick they've been all season long.
Yeah, definitely. Though you have taken a few trips to the podiums. I think you've taken around 7 in total this season. This is your first time on the top step, and obviously you said it was a great feeling, but just how much is this maybe a weight off your shoulders now that you've finally got that victory?
I was starting to wonder when it would happen, because there's been a few races. Monza, I came quite close a couple of times, and I think Ben picked me to one there, and yeah, the last couple of weeks have been a bit stressful, actually. I got involved in a few incidents, so yeah, I was sort of starting to think about, have I missed my chance? But yeah, hopefully the first of many. Hopefully I'm not a one-hit wonder, and I can keep winning throughout the rest of the season. I've got a Pro-Am Championship to try and win, which yeah, I'd quite like to get. So yeah, I'm buzzing now. I absolutely love that.
Well, Andy, I'll be sure to buy you a drink next time I see you. All right, we'll be going down to Snetterton, so hopefully we can meet up. And if you can get another race victory every time you get on the top step of the podium, that's another point for you, mate.
Well, if I ever needed any more incentive to win again, then that was it.
There you go, bud. There you go. Great stuff, Andy. Congratulations on your first race victory. From what it sounds like, it was a brilliant race, and hopefully you'll be on track to do the very same yet again. He's just made his way out of the comms box, and we can see him out on the circuit for this 4th and final race. The same reverse grid, actually, that we saw on the 3rd race. So I think you're well placed to have another shot at getting another race victory, because of course iRacing server issues meant they couldn't pull the CSV for it to get into the Google document to get the reverse grid working. So they've had to basically just do the exact same grid that we had for race 3 into race 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting grid. It's still a full reverse grid, so Jason Cooper is still going to be starting at the back and working his way through. And Jason Cooper starting at the back and finishing P3 last race. So hopefully he can go 2 better and win this one again. And it would be an incredible drive if he could, let's be honest.
It will indeed. So we're coming to the end of this practice session, and the race is about to get underway. Their cars make their way up to the grid, and we see the order on your screens here. James Neve, pole position ahead of Colin Sansom. Mark Oliver 3rd, Luke Cooper 4th, ahead of Douglas Stewart, Ashley Stimpson, Liam Stimpson, Fiona Siddons, Ryan Main, and Rob Noble, who completes the top 10. Thomas Burling will start 11th, ahead of Adam Fox in 12th. 13th place is Simon Robson, lining up in front of Nick Clibbins, Julian Schroer, Craig McDonald, Andy McEwen in 17th place. They have Arthur Panzel, Michael Seal, Craig Cockrell, Tom Griffiths, Sam Smith, James King, and Jason Cooper the way down in 24th position. Nick Poston starts 25th ahead of James Clark, Anthony Beck, Lee Holmes, Michael Linscombe Hatfield, Luke Grundman, and Glenn Humberston, who rounds up the 31 car grid. We've actually gained a driver throughout the evening. We started off with 30 drivers. We've got 31 MX5s that will make their way through into the first corner and up the S's for the final time. Well, the first and final time in this final race. James Neve on the front row. He's going to try and get a good getaway. There's a bit of a jump start, though, in the background for, I believe that to be Liam Stimpson, who was a little bit too eager in getting off of the mark. See that, or he's just had an inspired getaway, but I think that was just a little bit touch too early for Liam. Still going through the first corner now, already up into third place, but there's a moment off the road, and let's have a look here. Luke Cooper having a collision there with, I believe that's been Mark Oliver. There's plenty of cars going through. Andy McEwen as well, caught up in something. He's dropped down 9 places, so might be unlikely to have a repeat of his third race. But we can still see the action on the circuit is still as exciting as last we saw. Liam Stimpson, Douglas Stewart, all fighting for position. Liam Stimpson up into second place, but with a big cloud of a potential penalty hanging over his head. And I think he's had a moment into the wall there, going through that long right-hander.
Yeah, just a little bit of a moment there, unfortunately, from him, but it's still extremely close racing. Jason Cooper is already in P23. So Jason Cooper already making up some big positions, going past the whole field as he does most, going around the outside. He's 16, is he?
Big moment there. Arthur Panzel into the wall. That was at the toe of the boot. So unfortunately, drivers still getting involved in incidents, like we heard at least through second-hand reports on the third race. Jason Cooper doing well to make up plenty of places, already up 11 since the start of the race. Wheels wheel with Michael Seal, who holds the inside line. There's smoke off up the road, and a big collision, a car park, if you will, on the exit of the corner. They're just all piling into one another. They're just not slowing down for the instant. They keep up the speed. They keep on going. And all of a sudden, we find Craig McDonald with just an absolute array of cars blocking his way through. He can't get it up and running. What on earth happened there, though? There was just a massive cars all slowed up with one another. But meanwhile, at the front of the field, look at this, side by side, battling for second place. James Neve, though, I believe, is showing for me up at the front of the field. So clear margins down the road from James. Look at him, miles off into the distance with Ashley Simpson and Douglas Stewart battling hard in the background, slowing each other up. This could be probably the best opportunity James Neve has had for race victory all season long. As they're going side by side, up the hill, down the hill, everywhere they go, so close to an incident, but they keep it just about safely. Just about. They're getting a lot closer as you even go on. It's like touring car racing for people that know about British touring cars. It gets closer and closer the further you go into the race, further you go into the evening. And as soon as you get to the end of the day, people are hitting each other, people are crashing into each other, they're rubbing doors, they're doing everything they can just to try and get through and gain a few positions. Yeah, I would say good little overtake there, good bit of movement there. Having a look as well at some of the stats this season. This will be James Neve's first race victory of the season and only his second time on the podium. If he can bring it across in first position, he's got the margin to the rest of the field. That's going to help him to no end. The fact that Ashley Stimpson and Douglas Stewart are really starting to battle and hold each other up. The clear air is working wonders for the number 7. We're down in the 727. Luke Grundman is trying to keep Ryan Main at bay. Ryan, who had a good result there, a third position, which I believe, if my memory serves right, is Ryan Main's best result of the season. I can't see any other times that he's gotten on to 4th position. So good stuff there from Ryan Main. looking to try and have another good result. What I will say, though, is helped that Andy McEwen was that incident on the first lap. He got involved into the first corner, but then later on in the lap, he was able to capitalize on that massive car park. We can see what happened to Andy McEwen coming into the first corner hit. Oh, he just gets a tap going into the corner well before there's anything going on. So this is it. We're going to look for Andy McEwen, the 222 in the background, and Arthur Panzel just gets a little bit too close for comfort on the front of the car there, with the front of his car on the rear of Andy McEwen's.
Yeah, quite unfortunate for Andy McEwen. And after the buzz that he had off race 1, getting taken out like that in race 2 isn't ideal. But
he's been able to make the best of a bad situation, hasn't he, though? Up into 15th place already.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely trying to make the best out of a bad situation. That's what he does best. As we see these guys going side by side everywhere, trying to go up, down, inside, outside, every way they go around. As James Neve, actually, the gap that he's got. And then you've got Drivers P2 and P3.
But what is going to be crucial for James Neve is just to keep hitting his marks. He's often used to driving in that mid-pack with several cars all around him. It can sort of help you out at times because you'll have cars in front. You can see exactly where they're braking. You know the speed you'll be taking into the corners, the lines to use. But when you're out on your own, you don't have those extra references. You just need to be secure in yourself and just keep pounding out the laps, aware of the time that you're sort of fighting with the other guys that you can't exactly see where they are on the circuit. And that's the difficult part, is keeping in mind where the other cars are, how close, if they are closing down on you, or if you're pulling away. If it's all about managing that race, looking after the tyres, keeping yourself just about where you need to be to get it across the line in first place, which is what James Neve is going to be putting 100% of his focus into at the moment in the lead of the race. Is Jason Cooper, while we've been talking about all of this, just carving his way through the field. You can see already up 18 positions since the start of the race. Is on an absolutely otherworldly charge. You can see this. James King as well up 19 places. Brilliant stuff from him. Lee Holmes up 20. What a race Lee Holmes has been having. He's been able to pick his way through all the way along this race, making sure he stayed out of trouble, which is the main thing in these sort of big reverse grid races. And it's working out for him. He's up into 8th place, and he could find himself gaining just a few more.
Yeah, it'd be really good for him if he does, though. Imagine James Neve winning this race. That would be an outstanding performance by James. And yeah, I'd love to see him win it. I really would.
That'd be brilliant stuff if that is the case. Jason Cooper fighting up, though, trying to get into 5th position. You can see the inside of Nick Clemens' car just about there, but he doesn't go for it. It gets shut firmly in his face and then needs to wait a little while longer as Nick Clemens maybe trying to line up a move on James King. You can see him giving a half look down the inside of the toe. Andy McEwen wheel to wheel with James Clark, trying to go the inside of the toe, and he gets it done nicely. Careful though of the cut back. I think he's going to just about get a good enough run to then hold the inside line, but James Cooper from around the outside is going to be a real contender to try and take back that position. As we're on board with Linscombe Hatfield, he's going to be front row seats for this fight. Overcooked into the corner there by James Clark. McEwen's going to come through, but then be vulnerable down the inside. He wasn't able to carry enough speed to shut out the Cooper Esports driver. Maybe suffering a little bit of damage, perhaps, is the reason why he wasn't able to get the car where he needs it. Look at that crumpled front end, but it's not hurting a straight line speed. He's closing into the slipstream. So maybe Andy McEwen's damage is a little bit superficial, not purely down to performance-related things. Like we said, already up a few places, and of course, it's about the long game for Andy. If he can keep bagging these good results, find himself maybe with a top 10 finish, getting those consistent, good scoring points is what he needs to do in the championship. I don't think he's had a non-finish all evening long, which is really the thing to do in these Pro-Am championships. I don't say that because that might backfire. I don't want to. The reason why I'm saying that is because I don't want to buy any more points at Snetterton in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's probably gonna. I really do hope he gets another one, though. I'm gonna be honest. It's gonna be. It's really nice to see new drivers win races, and it'd be really nice to see him win another one.
Yeah, my bank account might not be too happy. Obviously, if you've been to any motorsport venues in the UK, you know that they charge an arm and a leg for a pint. So we'll see exactly what the damage is going to be as Jason Cooper tries to do a little bit of damage to James King's chances and hopes of a good result, getting up through the order into 5th place. James King shuffled back through the pack as they made their way through the chute, and Jason Cooper made one position, wasn't happy with that. He quickly made another into 4th position with 5 minutes to go, though I don't think he's going to be able to properly close that gap down to Colin Sansom in 3rd place as Nick Clemens fights back, tries to go around the outside of the heel. Jason Cooper gives it a big blanket no, and then holds the nice tight inside line for the next sort of very tricky left-hander. It's difficult to know when to turn in, what line to take. It's oftentimes you see drivers just hugging the apex and getting on the throttle early as they dare, avoiding the sort of grass on the outside. This corner again carrying the speed. Wonderful to see this array of MX5s snaking their way through. Lovely camera shots here provided to us by Dan Handover. And then look at the train make its way out of the final corner. Now start finish straight. James Lever's still been able to keep that gap at around about 3 seconds. It's been ebbing and flowing all the race long. Sometimes Ashley Stimpson's faster. Sometimes James Neve replies with a quicker lap time. All about managing the race up in front for James Neve. And then further back, it's just out and out, wheel to wheel, elbows out racing.
Proper racing. That's all they do here. Proper racing is all they live for. I think these guys are going to have a proper battle as well. Going side by side everywhere. Is he going to get him down the straight? Is Adam Folks going to try and get Julian Schroer down the straight? Julian Schroer, reminded, is Arthur Panzel's teammate, as they're going 3 wide at the moment. And Jason Cooper still trying to hold that position off from the 3 angry Mazdas behind. But don't roll out the 88 Motorsport car. 88 Motorsport car on the outside, then going to be on the inside for the next corner. Is he going to get the move done? I don't think he is, because he's just been blocked.
Yeah, that's the good stuff, though. Jason Cooper, every single time, looks like he has a strong defensive drive through that corner. He just hits his marks just beautifully, carries the right amount of speed while still hugging that inside line, not giving any drivers the opportunity to outpace him on the exit, which is crucial, because if you leave yourself vulnerable to move down the inside of the chute, it's a bit easier, I think, when you have that inside line to get that move done, then try and sweep around the outside of the toe. So Jason Cooper now is looking to build the margin as we see James King make a move down on the inside of Nick Clibbins to retain 5th position. That is, we're going to see Michael Seal pick up the pieces. Is Nick Clibbins going to get shuffled back through the pack? Michael Seal, I think, will try and slot in single file. You don't want to go 2 by 2 into these final couple of corners if you can help it, because it's such a fast-paced corner. If you're either held around the outside, or if you need to go down the inside, you do need to tap on the brakes to avoid any possible contact, which slows you all the way down. Gives all the other drivers in front plenty of chance to clear a margin, as we see Jason Cooper clear a margin of a second to James King, having a brilliant final sector to Jason, and that's given him all of the breathing space he needs to stay in front, which is crucial. Coming on to this, the flat-out area of the circuit, up through the S's. On board here of Luke Cooper, going for a move on Simon Robson, getting that place done rather handily there. Luke Cooper, of course, involved in that incident on the first corner at the first lap. But good stuff to see him fighting back, carrying on, even if he's had the misfortunes early on. Oh my word. Try and pick a favourite for this fight. Bumping and barging. Elbows up into the right-hander. I think the 23 of James King is able to hold on to that position. Is then going to take a tight line down the chute. Not allow Nick Clemens any chance to go down the inside. Look at that, swiping off the nose, while still giving enough room. Oh my word, who was that muscling through? Lee Holmes on Michael Seal.
Yeah, Lee Holmes has been doing... He always runs a blinder in the final race, Lee Holmes. He always runs an incredible race through the final race. As we see still, P2 and P3 are still held by AM drivers that are still in contention for position. And the AM win, so we can't count them out. But moving a little bit further back to this battle here, We've got Lee Holmes and Nick Clemens going too wide into turn 9. I think this is turn 9. And this is going to be incredibly close. Going up the hill side by side. Nick Clemens braking a little bit later and just getting that move done. Is that right? Yes, I think it is.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, Nick Clemens was braking a little bit later, getting that move done, and is going to be hopefully catching James King ahead.
Yeah, they can see now they're coming on to the final lap. James Neave has been far and away class of the field. 3 seconds clear of Ashley Stimpson. You can sort of for a moment there before we coming back to Simon Robson and Luke Cooper again having a bit of a battle. It's not settled down between these two. Luke Cooper having to go defensive, hold the inside line. Simon Robson for Galton Simsport does great job there, holding it around the outside. They will go side by side through the second to last corner. Plume of smoke up there. You can see there might have been a little bit of an instant further in front, sweeping his way around the outside. Is Simon Robson going to get the move done? No, and there's contact on the exit there. Oh, I thought that was going to be a massive crash between the two, but it's only a little bit of contact and they all come through. There's definitely smoke up in front. Someone has blown their engine, unfortunately. Not sure who that is. I think that's might be Robert Noble.
I think it is Robert Noble just blowing an engine. That's a downshift, I think. Just going down the gears too aggressively. And he must be on a H pattern.
Oh no, he doesn't make a mistake.
No, he
crashes into the wall. Heavy hit there.
Yeah.
So that was the smoke we saw, wasn't it, on the exit of that corner? We wonder what was going on there. And it turns out that was the remnants of a blown engine. Oh my word. Unfortunate there, right at the death for Rob Noble to make that mistake all on himself. Driver that hasn't made a mistake all race, though, is James Neave at the front of the field. We're seeing Ryan Main, though, in a brilliant tussle trying to get through on Luke Grundman. No opportunities making themselves available to him. But we will then shift our focus to this man, James Neave from Matthews Logistics White, coming through the final sector here. Just 2 corners, and James Neave will be able to take his first race victory of this season. And we're a fantastic give a driver, sort of driver of the day, driver of the round here on Absolute Sim Racing. But from drivers getting their first race victories, Andy McEwen and James Neave, it's got to be a dead heat between the pair of them. 2 brilliant races to round out the evening. James Neave, though, takes top honours in the final race here at Watkins Glen, his first race of the season for Matthews Logistics White. What a drive that was. He got up in front and just controlled the race, allowed Ashley Simpson a little bit of gap management, allowed him to close in because he knew that there was no way he was going to give up a 3-second advantage. Brilliant stuff there from James, as we see close finishing across the line. In the end, Luke Cooper coming ahead of Simon Robson. Simon not able to find a way through on the final time of asking in the final lap, unfortunately for himself. Good run out of the final corner, but it all comes a little bit too late for the Galton Cinesports driver, who will finish in 21st place behind Luke Cooper. What a drive that was, though, from race victor James Neave. First race victory, like we said, of the season. Cracking stuff. Andy McEwen as well, getting his first race victory of the season. And Ryan Main, his best result of the season on the 3rd race, coming home in 4th place. So many contenders for driver of the round.
Yes, as you said, so many contenders for the driver of the round. And it's going to be extremely difficult to choose who it's going to be, because for me, it's got to be Andy McEwen. Andy McEwen won his first race, and he won it with style, and he definitely won it against some of the toughest drivers in this grid.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit like, what was it? Was there, I think there was a Senna lap at, was it Monaco, where they were sort of, they wasn't ever broadcast, but there was sort of word of mouth got around of how amazing that lap was. And well, we're going to be able to talk about Andy McEwen's race victory, maybe in a similar tone. It's probably going to get embellished over the seasons. But, oh, there was a granny that ran out into the circuit and he definitely avoided 2 wheels across the line. Stopped at the start to save a kitten from a tree. All of these things that will probably get added to the story every time Andy McEwen tells it to somebody new. But yeah, I do have to agree, that was a brilliant drive from Andy. We obviously saw pictures from the 3rd race of the photo finish at the line, and with stiff opposition, Andy McEwen's 3rd race victory, I will agree, probably seals him as driver of the round. So great stuff there from Annie McEwen, but as well, James Neve, first race victory of the season. 2 Pro-Am drivers taking top honours. And, well, 2 race victories for Jason Cooper as well. What an evening's racing we have been treated to here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, amazing racing as always from these guys. These guys are at the top of their game, and they're always on the limit of grip and always on the limit of just pure... They're always on the limit of penalties, I think is a better way to put it. They're always on the limit of the stewards, and I think that if there was a race control, most of these guys would be sent there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So, cracking stuff. We'll be able to hopefully bring you through the finishing order. Now, all drivers have made their way into the pits. And we can see confirmation here. James Neve, race victor, taking his first of the season in stunning fashion. 2.5 seconds over Ashley Simpson. The greatest margin of victory you've seen all evening long. Colin Sansom there, third place, and it's amazing to see, isn't it? 2 AM drivers up there.
Yeah,
Ashley Simpson, of course, taking top honours. Colin Sansom, second place. Jason Cooper, highest place pro driver, having to do a lot to get through the field, but still good stuff for a 4th place finish of James King, Nick Clibbins, Lee Holmes, Michael Seal, Alan Fox, and Julian Schroer, who completes the top 10. Douglas Stewart in 11th, ahead of James Clark. Andy McEwen, 13th place. Good to come back from the setback early on in the race. Michael Linscombe Hatfield in 14th, ahead of Ryan Main, Luke Grundman, Nick Postens, and Sam Smith. And then we come down to 19th place with Fiona Siddons, who finishes ahead of Luke Cooper, Simon Robson, and Arthur Panzel, with Liam Stimpson, Robert Noble, and Glenn Humberston. Final finishing drivers here. Anthony Beck, Thomas Burling, Craig McDonald, all non-finishers, along with Tom Griffiths, Craig Cockrell, and Mark Oliver. And Tom Griffiths' non-finish there is going to really hurt his championship hopes. That means he scores a big fat 0 for the final race. Of course, there are drop rounds, so this may be one of them. I do see, though, Cam, a driver in the interview waiting room. Let's have a chat to race victor. His first victory of the season. I think first victory in VSR history as well.
Yeah,
James Neve, congratulations, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, mate. Thank you. It was quite an uneventful race, really, wasn't it?
Uneventful, aside from the fact that, you know, you got your first ever race victory. How was that for you when you saw that you had about the midway point of the race, 3 seconds clear?
Yeah, I noticed like the first couple of laps he went up to 3 seconds, and I was like, if I could just keep it there, and then yeah, you start making silly mistakes, though, don't you? Trying to
Cracking
be
stuff, though. Just it's cracking stuff from you, though, mate. And obviously, what does this mean for Matthew's Logistics team? I know it's don't forget a couple of podiums here and there, but a race victory, this is something else to celebrate, isn't it?
definitely, yeah. We was just saying, I think it's the first for our team anyway, so yeah, over the moon. We've not had a very good night, really, all of us.
Yeah, I think you picked up the first podium from Matthews Logistics earlier on in the season, but this is definitely the first race victory.
Yes, definitely the first race victory, yeah. Over the moon. Good race. Wow.
And was this one that you were maybe expecting to get a good result in, or was this just a bit of a surprise for you?
No, even like when we practiced, I was there or thereabouts. I don't know if I could just get away with them. The top pack, I'd be alright. But first few races didn't really go that way. And then once I'd got the jump on that start and realised I'd got a couple of seconds, I was
It was game on, wasn't it?
Game on. I sort of calmed down and that was it. Just getting all sweaty then.
It's been a relatively hot day, hasn't it, all around the country? Has that been a factor for you this evening, trying to manage the heat as well as manage the ability to get through the line and get the races done?
Yeah, it's just my hands are all sweaty. I don't get like that even when I'm proper racing. Do you know what I mean?
Cracking stuff, though. And has that proper racing experience helped you in the sim?
I I don't know really. You're kind of more aware, I think. Yeah, definitely more aware of what's going on around me. But yeah, I think it does help.
Absolutely. Well, great to see you getting your first ever race victory. Is this a sign of things to come? Do you reckon you can maybe snatch a couple more podiums or race victories before the season's done?
I would like to hope so, yeah. Definitely some more podiums. So that's the goal anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at the calendar though, because in a week's
Where are we,
time
Nick?
we go to the Charlotte Roval. So, circuit with similar characteristics in that you'll get a lot of drafting, a lot of slipstreaming.
Yeah.
Is that one that you're looking forward to, mate?
I've not done many laps around there, but yeah, I don't think it was too bad when I was there last. So hopefully we'll see, won't we? See the week's
Cracking
time.
stuff, mate. We'll hope to see plenty more of you up on the podium. Maybe even another trip to the top step, James. But congratulations!
Nice,
Before we let you get off to celebrate with teammates, is there anybody you'd like to thank on the broadcast here this evening?
Just everybody who runs it, really. You do a cracking job. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much.
Cheers, James. Great to
Cheers, mate.
have
Bye.
a word with you. Go off to your teammates and have a celebration, mate. So, James Deep exits the coach box and another driver enters. Now we can have a chat with third place driver Colin Sansom. And Colin, congratulations on the podium. You were in a good little fight for quite a while there with Ashley Stimpson.
Yeah, I was. It was just slightly faster at the time, even with the tow. So, but I was desperate to try and stick with him before the pack caught us. Poor Douglas Stewart, I was dicing with. I've just been having a look at the replay, and he seemed to have net coded behind me.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. There was definitely a little bit of net code, of course. iRacing had a bit of a server hiccup, didn't it, a little while earlier, which was the reason why we weren't able to bring you any pictures of the third race. But still, the fourth race was brilliant for you, wasn't it? You got your first ever podium, your best result of the season. So that must be something to celebrate.
Yeah, I may have shouted rather loudly when I passed the finish line on that one.
It's definitely not been the evening for neighbours, shall we say, in BSI, because I think Andy McEwen deafened the entire street when he won on third race, and maybe James Neve did the exact same when he got his first race victory. So, cracking stuff. And is Watkins Glen been a circuit you were expecting good things from?
I do like the circuit, but I hadn't tried it. I've tried a new setup from BSR, and it's a lot looser, but seems more manageable. So I've been able to rotate the car a lot easier, and that's got my times up. So I've been enjoying that, but always sat on the edge thinking, oh, if it just lets go too much and I lose it. But
I seem to have noticed that a little bit with certain drivers, and obviously with iRacing's sort of tweaks to the car for the start of this season, I think you were one of the drivers that were maybe thrown off by it because it was a lot more sort of stable, wasn't it? It wasn't quite the same oversteer car where you could get the sort of the back end stepping out, and that's, I think, how you've been able to find that pace that you might have lost from last season to this one.
yeah, I've only started in January, so I'm still learning, and I built the rig and everything in at Christmas and started on January. So I am still learning with it a bit, but I'm starting to settle, and yeah, it just seems to come together a lot more this one. Although the third race, the first lap, it was like being on glass for some reason, and it just does that every now and again. I think I maybe picked marbles up offline.
Yeah, potentially, Colin. But of course, congratulations on your first ever podium in the Tegiwa MX5 trophy. And we come to Charlotte Roval in a week's time, a circuit that was free on iRacing. Plenty of drivers have been able to get experience with. Have you driven around that circuit before?
Yes, I have actually. I was on it again last night, so I'm not as fast on that one. This one's a lot more flowing, but hopefully good things, and we'll work on the third and see where we end up.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Colin, for joining us in the comments box. Before we go to duty, is there anybody you'd like to shout out here on Absolute Sim Racing?
Yeah, just the guys at BSR, everyone at Year One Racing, and also the wife downstairs who's probably wondering why I screamed when I went over the line earlier, because I'm in the loft. So yeah, thank you very much. Keep up the good work, guys, and yeah, good night.
All right, thank you very much, Colin. Great to have a word with you. So, everybody, that was third position, Colin Sansom, joining us in the comms box after his best finish, his first podium ever in the BSR Tegiwa MX5 trophy. But I think, Cameron, that is all the time we have for this evening. So, shall we get your closing thoughts from a brilliant evening here at Watkins Glen?
What an amazing evening. It is always the same with BSR. It is always close racing all the way through and curveballs all the way through. Sometimes they're not very good curveballs, as we've found out, but curveballs all the way through. Crashes were everywhere tonight. There were people off, there were people on the track. It was incredible to watch, let's be honest. And I'd just like to say a massive shout out to the guys that organised this, because without you guys, this thing would not be happening. So massive congratulations to you guys. You guys do an amazing job every single week, and we couldn't do it without BSR. And I'd also like to thank them for trusting us in making things work, even when they don't work, but we try our best.
Yeah, we do. We soldier on because we love the series so much, don't we? It's a brilliant championship, and I like sentiments. We're very glad to have BSR on board for us here on Absolute Sim Racing. They provide us with some of the best racing that we've ever had the joy to commentate on, and you know me, wherever BSR goes, I tend to follow. So cracking stuff all around. Another brilliant evening's racing, but the championship rolls its way through. We will go to Charlotte Roval for a week's time. You don't want to miss that. From myself, Dan Handover, and Cameron Hawes, it's a goodbye. Take care and stay safe.